Greetings and welcome back to another video. In Star Wars Rebels, we are introduced for the first time to the character Kanan, a Jedi who was a Padawan during the Clone Wars and who survived the events of Order 66. In the 2016 Kanan comic, we saw Kanan, formerly Caleb Dume during his days as a youngling and a Padawan, and the events of Order 66 from his perspective. 5 years later, in the first episode of the Bad Batch series, we saw the events of Order 66 from Caleb's perspective, but there are significant differences from the original story. Many fans thought that the new version completely retconned the Kanan comic, but that is not the case. In this video, we will explain both versions in depth and clarify which elements were deleted from the canon story and which remain the same in order to preserve continuity. Many people consider that this change retcons almost everything, but in reality, only some minor details are altered. But in order to understand this better, let's start from the beginning. First, let's examine the events of the comic. In the comic, Depa Billaba and her Padawan Caleb Dume were fighting the separatist droid army with their CIS General Cleave on the planet Kaller. They defeated the separatists, forcing General Cleave to retreat and leave the planet. However, the provincial governor of Kaller, Gamut Key, and the Kallerans were not convinced to join the Republic. After the battle, Depa Billaba, her Padawan, and her clone battalion spent the night in the fields under the stars. During their time there, Chancellor Palpatine called Captain Grey, and Order 66 was executed. The clones managed to kill Depa Billaba, but Caleb survived and escaped into the woods. The clones searched for him, but they could not find him. In the Bad Batch version, things happened a little differently. Depa Billaba and her Padawan Caleb Dume were in the midst of battle on the snowy forest planet of Kaller. This battle took place after the one depicted in the comic, but I will explain this later. General Grievous deployed more forces to the planet, and Depa Billaba fought the droid army while Caleb went to bring reinforcements. Caleb returned to the battle, bringing Clone Force 99, also known as the Bad Batch, with him. The members of the team at that time were Hunter, Tech, Echo, Wrecker, and Crosshair. During the battle, Tech noticed that Obi-Wan Kenobi has engaged General Grievous on the planet Utapau. Then, Commander Grey received a message from Chancellor Palpatine to execute Order 66. Every other clone, including Clone Force 99, also received this message. Grey and the other clones in his battalion attacked and killed General Depa Billaba. Caleb managed to escape into the forest. Due to their mutation, the inhibitor chip of the Bad Batch members did not activate, except for Crosshair, but even his chip had not fully activated yet. Hunter and Crosshair pursued Kanan in the forest, with Hunter seeking to understand what had happened and Crosshair intending to execute the Jedi as per the order given to him. Hunter found the boy first. Caleb escaped and managed to flee on Kaller. Then Crosshair arrived, and Hunter informed him that he had killed the Jedi by throwing him off a cliff. All the other clones entered the forest to search for Kanan. As we can see, the two versions have many differences, but there are also many commonalities. Consequently, we could combine both versions to equally fit into the continuity. Only some details remain outside of the canon story to preserve the cohesion of the Star Wars narrative. So, let's describe the complete canon story by combining both versions together. The planet Kaller was under siege by the Confederacy of Independent Systems under the command of Separatist General Cleave. Republic forces arrived, with Jedi Master Depa Billaba leading the attack as a general. Her battalion consisted of her Padawan Caleb Dume, Captain Grey, Captain Styles, and many other clone troopers. They fought the Separatists and forced General Cleave to leave the planet. However, Gamut Key and the Kallerans did not differentiate between the Separatists and the Republic, so they refused to join the Republic, leading to continued conflicts on Kaller. Depa Billaba and her forces camped in the fields to prepare for the next battle, which occurred the following morning. General Grievous sent more droid forces to the planet, and a new battle began in a snowy forest on Kaller. This is where the events of the first episode of the Bad Batch took place, and we do not need to change anything about it. The only things that change and remain outside of the canon lore are the Order 66 depictions from the comic. The events of the Bad Batch took place the very next morning after Depa Billaba's battalion camped in the fields. So, after these depictions, which are before the deleted images, is the intro of the Bad Batch series. Another minor change concerns the lightsaber color of Depa Billaba. In the comic, she has a green blade, but in the series, she has a blue one. Lucasfilm has provided a canon explanation for this in the book Star Wars, the Lightsaber Collection, which states that the lightsaber color is blue. Therefore, her lightsaber in the events covered by the comic, and not retconned, is blue. As a result, only the color of her lightsaber is retconned. Additionally, in the comic, Captain Gray has armor with red markings, but in the Bad Batch series, he has the same markings but the color is light green. I do not think that this retcons anything because he might have changed the color of his armor in order to blend in better with the surroundings and the environment. In the comic, there is some frames showing Kanan running in the woods with the clones chasing him, and in the background, we see that it is night because the events of Order 66 happened during the night in the comic. These frames is not retconned in canon because it fits in the timeline. The only change that we must make is that in the frames, it must be daytime in the background. In the comic, we see events that happened before and after Order 66. For example, we see Caleb as a youngling in the temple, how he met his master, and the first battles that Caleb fought with his master during the war. Additionally, in the comic, we see the events that happened to Caleb after Order 66. After the purge, he wandered around Kaller and met a smuggler named Janice Casimir, and they worked together as partners. After that, Caleb Dume changed his name to Kanan Jarrus and began a new path and a new chapter in his life. We do not need to change anything about these events because they are not retconned by any other material. As a result, they fit perfectly into the canon continuity. In the 2016 comic, Kanan visits the planet Kaller many years after the purge with the Ghost crew, and they pass through the exact same places that left an impact on Kanan. At every spot, Kanan recalls the exact memories that happened there. When they reach the place where he camped with his master and the clones, he remembers Order 66. This scene is not retconned. The only thing that changes and is completely erased from canon continuity is the thought of Kanan because he only remembered that they camped here and not Order 66, as this event happened later. This is the only way for everything to fit inside canon continuity. We cannot consider the Order 66 scene depicted in the comic as canon because then the events of the Bad Batch would be retconned. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, like this video, hit the notifications bell, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Until the next video, may the Force be with you.